I'm Dexter Kaiama. I'm an attorney by profession, and I've been following the brave young men and women and the activities that they've been conducting on the Mauna Kea. And I can tell you they're setting a shining and proud example of how we should be conducting ourselves. I have had some conversations with them. They've asked me for some assistance, some consultation, and I've provided it. But I support what they're doing on the Mauna entirely, 100%. And it's especially the message, and the message I heard, and it's a message that we need to resonate throughout not only our community, but the community, the global community at large. And that is that this is not the state of Hawaii. That this is, in fact, continues to be the Kingdom of Hawaii under international law. And so all of these contracts that the state has negotiated with the TMT and their affiliated companies are in fact void, because the state does not exist under law. What we have here is continued occupation for over 117 years now, illegal occupation. What I appreciate and so appreciate, and I'm so proud of the young men and women up there, what the message they're giving the authorities is in fact a continuation of what you saw in the DOI testimony.
You understand, and so that the Democratic Party has efficiently held us down to compliant rapees, and you all represent the raper.
And you need to go back and tell President Obama and Mr. Kerry, whom we have great respect for, but to be serious and treat us seriously, because we have always honored America and given you aloha, and we don't expect anything in return except for mutual respect. We are a treaty-holding nation state. We have a defined territory, and Mr. Justice, you need to see and look at those.
We are Hawaiian subjects, as our kupuna before us who signed the Ku'e petitions of 1897. They laid a firm foundation for us. And all we have to do is remember and stand together with courage and let the United States, the state of Hawaii, and the Office of Hawaiian Affairs know that we know who we are. Mahalo.
It's that raising of awareness, it's that level of consciousness that is exciting to see. And they are continuing to voice that mana'o and that ike, that this continues to be Hawaiian Kingdom. What I'm doing is I'm going up there to support that effort. And if I can, if it does help, I'd like to make sure that no further arrests take place. That in fact the authorities stand down, because they cannot prove that they have that authority to make these arrests.
Well, we have to just say one thing, is to let everybody know, all of you, we have nothing against you. But because there is no treaty of annexation, we are under illegal occupation. And by exercising the laws and actions of the illegal occupier, all of you could be held accountable for war crimes. And as long as we said that, now you cannot say you never know. And all we're trying to do is protect you as much as to protect us. But if you're going to commit that action, then you're going to be held accountable. And we're sorry.
If you look into the recent actions taking place with the court case with the Mauna Kea fishermen, educate yourselves and you will see what we are talking about.
And there's a connection to the Mauna Kea fishermen's case recently on Maui, when the court essentially took judicial notice as a result of our expert witness testimony, Dr. Keanu Sai, as well as his legal brief concerning the continuity of the Hawaiian Kingdom and the legitimacy of the acting government.
Respectfully, the court is of the view that based on everything that's been presented, that the court does have subject matter jurisdiction.
And thank you. I would ask, because we did make the request and it's provided for in the motion itself, as well as the authorities, that the court take judicial notice of the matters that were presented in the motion itself.
What's the prosecution's position? All right, then the court will take, there being no objection, the court will take judicial notice as requested in writing on the documents.
That judicial notice taken by the courts essentially affirmed what we've been saying for so long, that the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist with the attributes of a state sovereign nature. And because the Hawaiian Kingdom continues to exist, the state of Hawaii, their judicial system, all of this really is a continued illegal act. And that awareness is growing, and we need to continue to expose and make that awareness more widely known.
You feel that you need to arrest us, then the arrest would be subject to the suspension of hostilities or the violation of that. And that's our position.
What runs across the board here is compliance. Follow the law. It's the rule of law. It's not, I'm not advocating telescopes cannot be built on Mauna Kea. Okay? I'm not advocating that, nor is Dexter. What we're advocating is if you're going to build a telescope on Mauna Kea, do it according to the law. And right now, everything that is done on Mauna Kea is in direct violation of international law and the laws of occupation. Meaning it's the Hawaiian government, its nationals, its agencies that make that determination. Yeah? Not a foreign entity or an illegal entity that we just found out. So when we look across the board here, it's not pitting people against people. It's not saying you can do this, you can't do that. It's the rule of law. If you're gonna do it, this is how it's supposed to be done.
Children of Akua, much love and respect. We pray for you and we aloha you all. Go ahead.
Because I'm Kanaka, this is a spiritual matter, yeah? And Mauna Kea is a wahikapu. And that calls to many of our people. And it is that spiritual call that allows us to realize the legal implications. And the legal implications, that knowledge will not only empower our own people, but it will start to disarm those who wish to continue their occupation. So I think it is pivotal in that sense. And every opportunity that we have to spread that education and that awareness is essential.
You are a sovereign, you have that every right to do that. Because they are now asking you to protect that which would destroy our waters.
What I see, okay, so this is what I see. Mauna Kea and what is taking place there, it's almost like it's like what took place back in 1998 when the signature petitions of 21,000 signatures came to Hawaii from Washington, the National Archives in America, the American National Archives. And people came to visit these petitions, and you could see people were coming together. They were coming together with a common understanding that it was their grandparents or great-grandparents and some great-great-grandparents where they actually saw the signatures or the names at least. And you could see people just focused on that. And they began, and I think that began the process of what's more here. What is in our history that we didn't know? Because to not know about 21,000 signatures that killed the treaty is quite profound. Kind of begs the question, why didn't we know? Where did this come from? And Dr. Noinoi Silva covers that in her book, you know, the history of that. I touched upon that in my doctoral dissertation as well. So when people start to ask the right questions, like why didn't we know? Then you naturally start to learn why you didn't know, and it just opens up more questions. And as you get more questions answered, you start to realize this is not what I thought it was. And people now need to do something. And everybody does something based upon their kuleana, yeah, their responsibility. From my experience, what I saw with this information and this movement of awareness, this is not a political movement. This is a movement of awareness that has no ethnic lines, it has no nationality lines, it has no legal lines, it's history. If anything, what it does is it maximizes responsibility. It makes you be a better person. I see Kaho'okahi Kanuha. I know him. If anything, it maximizes his responsibility to make people aware, to get people aware, to stand up and say this is wrong, this is illegal. You know, if you're a police officer, it'll maximize your responsibility to know what it is to be a police officer. And if you find out that Hawaii's occupied, how do you still police without committing war crimes? So this is not a matter of creating chaos. No, this is just becoming aware it's all chaotic, you know. So it's our responsibilities that we have that basically deals with the fact that we just realize everything is gone. But I'm here now, what do I do with it? And I think it's getting people to ask more questions. Yeah.
That very contract between the state of Hawaii and the TMT construction and all affiliates is in fact void. And because that's void, what's happening now is the construction that's taking place, because there is no valid contract, is the destruction of property, which is a violation of the Hague and Geneva Convention. Those are war crimes. That's the information that we also want to provide to those institutions and those affiliates so that they can be aware and they're placed on notice so that we can prevent them from committing those war crimes.
Please hear us!
And what's interesting is that India and Canada, as successor nations to the British government, in fact, has successor contracts and relations with the Hawaiian Kingdom. Japan has a direct treaty relationship with the Hawaiian Kingdom, so they need to be cognizant of that information as they move forward. And it's an ongoing process, but we have recognition, we have a number of examples of recognition. For example, in the Larson case in The Hague, back in 1999-2000, the United States was given a formal invitation to participate in those proceedings. The Hawaiian Kingdom the acting government extended that invitation through diplomatic channels. The United States declined to participate in the Hague Larson matter, but asked the permission of the acting government to receive the transcripts from that legal event. That is acknowledgement. There's been a number of other examples, including the war crimes complaints that have been filed on behalf of a number of individuals here against the courts and the attorneys seeking to assert their unlawful jurisdiction. So war crimes complaints have been filed. The complaints have been acknowledged and received by the International Criminal Court. So there also is ongoing diplomatic negotiations and relations with the Swiss government. So there are efforts being made, and I think as this awareness spreads and this level of consciousness increases, we can only expect there'll be more recognition to follow.
They've seen us here for over a week taking a stand, and now they've seen us to the point where we're committed to standing here until we get physically taken away, and the support level has just increased dramatically, and I just want to say mahalo. I'm so, not for me, but for our lahui, for our people, our country. We are rising. We are standing for truth.
My family is Big Island, and I was raised on the Big Island, so I'm a Waimea boy. I just happen to reside on Oahu now. But from the perspective of outer islands, I would say this. Not only are they proud of the message that our young people are conveying, that this is not the state of Hawaii and this is Hawaiian Kingdom, but I think they have to marvel and they have to be impressed by the level of dedication of these young men and women. And I think it's that level of dedication and that willingness to make that sacrifice which is drawing everyone else. Like I said, the Mauna is a vahikapu thing. The lands, including the land which this university sits on, is a Hawaiian Kingdom thing. The actions of those young men and women, that is a pono thing. And everyone else, because of that action, is being compelled to participate. It is a kako thing.
Very respectful, yeah, very humble, but onipa'a, yeah. I saw Kaho'okahi on the news. Said, yep, got arrested, okay, got through, I'm heading back up. So he's not angry. I didn't see that being displayed by any of them. It's not a protest. I see it as standing up and seeking compliance. The law is the law, and the rule of law applies to everyone. I like that. And I think once we start to get into that mode, we now begin to step back into the shoes of our ancestors, because that's how they handled it. They did not have the physical presence to prevent. And if they did, you would have had a conflict, you would have deaths and injury. That was a foremost concern of Queen Lili Okalani. Yeah? She said, maintain your discipline, maintain your position. And that was even expressed by Joseph Navahi, attorney from Hilo, in 1893 to James Blount, telling James Blount that the action or inaction taken by the people is not a symbol of agreeing or acquiescing to the takeover. It is to show that we are law-abiding, we're following the directions of our head of state, who say follow the laws, do not give them an excuse. And look how much they've accomplished through that perspective, which is what we are realizing now, we're reconnecting.
And we malama all of the people that are subject to you, but here's one question. So if you're unable, right, to stop this, who then that's above you that we can negotiate so we can end this?
The mayor.
The mayor.
Sure. Where's he?
All my support to those young men and women up on the Mauna. We're very proud of them. Continue, holomua, keep moving forward, and continue to give that message so that the rest of the world can see that this is the Hawaiian Kingdom, not the state of Hawaii.